Good afternoon, BookTube. Welcome to Jack Reading Corner. I am Jackie. And so originally what I was going to do is I was going to do a video where I talked about what I've read so far this winter, including what I read at the end of last year. It's actually what Reagan from Peruse Projects does. I think she does it every year, or every season, I guess technically. But I decided that I'm just gonna give you guys an update of how my reading is going so far this year. And so far, I'm off to a pretty good start. I remember one of my major goals was to read more widely, so I'm working on that. And that's why I chose to, not start with a YA book or a fantasy book. Let's see. So I've read quite a few books that I bookmarked and that I had started last year but didn't finish, like Crime and Punishment, which I just did a review for. Roses by Leah Meacham. I finished that one, and now I gotta read Somerset, and then I'll probably donate those back to the bookstore, or who knows, that can be a book that I could pass off to Therese or Larissa. Possibly Terry from Florida, but I don't know because, as I've said many times before, she's a little more particular about what she reads. Or I could just donate it back. I just feel weird giving the bookstore back. Although Roses I did not get from that bookstore. I got that from a thrift shop book sale. So I feel weird giving them back books that I bought from them. But anyway. And then I also finished I finally read Crooked Kingdom. And Defy the Stars is another one. But I will talk about those in a minute. Okay, let's see. Okay, it might not be on here. Where's my... Oh, wait, no. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this thing is loading slowly. Okay, so far what I've read this year. In January, I read Station 11, which I don't have anymore. I ended up getting rid of donating that one because it was one of these things where I was like, am I going to read this again? Yes, I enjoyed the book, but again, I don't get rid of, just because I donate books or I get rid of them does not mean I don't really enjoy that book. I just have to make a decision. A tough decision. It's like, this is a book I absolutely love that I have to keep. Can I see myself rereading it? Maybe I could have if I had kept that one. And then after that one, I read The Winter People. Oh, that was by Emily St. John Mandel. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads. And then after that one, I read The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I gave that one 5 stars because I liked that one better than Station 11. Oh, right, that one. That's because I tried to get creative and do an actual image of stars instead of writing, but that did not go well. So, the third book I read in January was Legendary by Stephanie Garber, which I gave 5 stars. And I was not one of those people who did not like. I really loved Caraval. I know a lot of people didn't love it and they preferred Legendary. They thought that was better. But one second. The only downside of having a door that actually closes, because before my door wouldn't close all the way. But at the same time, I hated having to get up and actually close the door. Make sure the door was closed. That kind of bugged me. So I gave that one 5 stars. The Enchanted by Renee Dunfeld. That was a great book. I gave that one 4 stars. And then after that one, I read Defy the Stars by Claudia Gray. That's a trilogy. I gave that 4 stars. If the second and third book are at the library, then I'll get them from the library. And then after that, my sixth book for January was Renegades. I finally started reading Renegade. I finally started that trilogy. I think it's gonna be a trilogy. I gave that one 4 stars. I really enjoyed that one too. Okay, so I read a lot more in February, which is ironic because it's the shortest month. But I did. That's awesome. So I finished. This was a carry. This first book was a carry on from January. And that was Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Gandler. I gave that 4 stars. And I think I gave that one back to the bookstore, which I almost feel like I should take a picture of those, but I was told that it wouldn't count we couldn't count donations for taxes. So I stopped taking pictures of books I donated. So I need to get back into that now. And then I read Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And that's kind of with the variety. One of the books I wouldn't normally read comes in. That is by John Barrett. I don't know if I'm saying his last name. That's a true crime book, and I give that one 5 stars. The Immortals by Chloe Benjamin was 5 stars. And then after that one, book number 4 was Roses, which I just mentioned. That was one of the books that I bookmarked last year. That's the one I got from Goodwill or the thrift store. I gave that one 3 stars. I mean, it's good. I was entertained by it, but it wasn't like the best book ever. Minimus by Lily Tall. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right. This is a translated book. I want to say it's German. It looks like it might have been German at one. It might have been German. I give that one 3 stars. That was fun. I enjoyed that book. I would recommend reading that to a middle school, giving that to a middle school kid, like a 12-year-old. The Falconer. That's the first book in the trilogy. That's the one I'm thinking I might give to Larissa. When They Come by Elizabeth May, and I gave that one 4 stars. I thought that was pretty cool. I like how it wasn't another book about werewolves or vampires. It was actually Fae. She was hunting down Fae. And ironically, I think it was Sam from Thousand Homes was talking about reading this book, reading that trilogy, and someone had commented in her comment section below on that, oh, you should read Fever series, and I had started that one. Now, maybe it's not entirely Siri's fault. Maybe it's because I started in the middle, not realizing it. I was reading the 3rd book. I think it was the 3rd book, so maybe that's part of the problem. But I definitely don't care for books I have no interest in books where, I'm not a prude, so I'm fine with sex in the story. I just don't want to, I don't want to read a book where their sexual lives are dominating the story, which I know some people, that's one of the things that some people criticize about Sarah J. Maas is her sex scenes. It's all about that. I think that's why I'm kind of falling out of love with her books. I still enjoy the ride, but her books are very romance heavy. And then after The Falconer, I read The Female Persuasion by Megan Wolitzer. I gave that 5 stars, and that was one of the books that I bookmarked. I love that book. I still have that book, and I was going to give that when my mom went to go see my sister in the beginning of March. I think it was this month. I was going to give her that, and I totally forgot to give that book. But then I was thinking after the fact, you know what, she probably won't even read it anyway, won't even have time to read it. I shouldn't say she wouldn't read it at all, I should say she doesn't have time. And then Immortal, which is the 4th book, final book in a quartet, or a saga, I don't know, or a series. Immortal by Nicole Conway. This is the Dragonrider Chronicles, where the final book in that one, and she has a new series she's been working on now, and I think there's 2 books from that series out. It's like the spin-off series, so it's about the next generation. But I think the main character of this original series is in that series as well. Like, he makes an appearance. Okay, so at the beginning, so far as of March, I finished up Royal Assassin, another book that I started and I did finish. So I'm glad about that. I gave that one 5 stars by Robin Hobb. It's the 2nd book in her Farseer trilogy. And Persuasion by Jane Austen, I gave 2 stars. I still prefer Pride and Prejudice out of the 3 Jane Austen novels I've read so far. it was kind of boring. It was a lot of talking and characters sorting through their feelings and going to dances and and taking walks. It was kind of boring. But I still want to keep reading her books. I want to keep, and then A Secret Rage by Charlene Harris. I gave that one also 2 stars. That's pretty good. It is about something very important. It's about rape culture. And how sometimes people treat it as, oh, as a woman, you asked for this, or why you dressed this a certain way, so you must be asking for it. But sometimes I think they call out the people that, to me, they're not that, what they dress as is not that bad. It may not be super conservative, but it's not that bad. The way some people, the way they comment on how people dress and stuff, like, on a Buffy episode from season 2, at the end of season 2, she's kind of, hanging out with, she's kind of trying to date again, I think, at that point, trying to get over Angel because he goes all evil, and she starts hanging out with and talking with one of the guys off the swim team, and they're like the equivalent to football players, and he thinks she's hot, and she was bored by what he said, by some of the things, all his talk about water, and but she appreciated having a conversation, talk to someone. So he oh, dang it. Okay, I wasn't ready for that. I have to wait for this thing to load again. Okay. So, I wonder if my mom's on the phone with my grandmother. So he, in the car, he won't let her leave. He locks the door and is, tries to hit on, tries to sexually get with her, and she does not like it. And of course, she's the Slayer, so she's pretty strong, so in self-defense, she punches him in the nose. And then, of course, the Principal Slayer, already does not like Buffy. He already can't stand her, and he wants to get rid of her. He tried to kick her out of school. He almost succeeded in season 2, at the end of season 2, kicking her out of school. That's his mission, is to get rid of Buffy. And so it's a good excuse for him to punish her, because he sees her hit and cause the guy's nose to bleed. And then he has the nerve to be all well, do you see the way she dresses? She's so provocative. And he doesn't say that because he's not that smart. Not smart enough to understand words like provocative, I feel like. And, she was wearing, because it's in California, so she was wearing a tank top, and people, what, tank tops, you see tank tops, there's something a little more revealing, but come on. Her clothes, and she's wearing, I think, a skirt, or maybe capris or something. It's Buffy does not dress like a slut. She does not dress that bad. And, of course, the woman, as a female, and because she caused the kid to bleed, because he's on the swim team, it's she was the one that got in trouble. She was the one that got the lecture, and she was the one who was told by the coach, oh, young lady, you need to dress more conservatively. When do they want her to dress like she's Amish? Should she wear just like she's from the 1800s, wearing high collars? And California, for crying out loud. Her outfit was not that bad. But unfortunately, like I said, the other thing was that she punched the guy in self-defense, so she didn't have a bruise on her, but he did. He had a bleeding nose. He just has the nerve to smile and smirk at her that he got away with this, and it's ugh. That pissed me off. But anyway, so that's kind of what A Secret Rage is about. My only issue with the book was it felt dated. It was written in 1984, I think was when it was published. So it felt dated. And just there were some cliches, oh, she falls in love with her best friend's brother. Shocking, and it was kind of, but it had important things, and it really did show the aftermath of what can happen to someone who gets raped and how it affects them, and it never goes away, that feeling. It's even if a decent guy that would not rape you, would never rape you, touches you in a certain way, it's like it will remind you of that rape. Like she couldn't, when he jokingly covered her eyes, being playful and stuff, she freaked out. She got all panicky because that is what the guy did. The rapist did to her. He covered her eyes, and and it was in the middle of the night. It was dark. So now, anytime a guy that she's seeing, even if he's a very good guy, a decent human being, if he touches her in a way that makes, that is the way the rapist touched her, she will never be okay. And it kind of indicated by the end of the book that these, who knows if these two would even last, if they would stay together. She will be forever marked by that guy's actions, by that rapist's actions. So I do think it's an important book. It just, again, the way it was written and stuff like that was just a little. And then the last book, and I just did a review, was Crime and Punishment. It's a classic, one of my favorite classics now. And I gave that 5 stars. And I am working on The Count of Monte Cristo, which there's no way I'm going to get that done this month. I don't think I'll even get that done before the cruise. And then I started reading The Vanishing Throne, which is the second book in the Falconer trilogy. So it comes out. Because I want to get this one done I want to get this trilogy finished before May, so I can see if Larissa or Terry would be interested. And then I'm reading The Flight of Gemma Hardy, which is a Jane Austen retelling, and then Hero of Ages, which is the third book in the Mistborn trilogy. Okay, so let me see something. What am I looking for? I'm trying to think, what am I looking for? What am I looking for? No. Sorry, I'm sick, so right now my brain is not. Oh, reading record, that's what I need. Reading record. But I don't know where it would be. Maybe it's in the review section. Nope, that's not it. Where is it? Where is the reading record? Favorites? Nope. Okay, where is it? I'm trying to find it. I have a reading record. Here's some booktube. Nope, that's not it. It's in the shelves. Oh, here it is. Yep, it's in the shelves. Okay, so this is my reading record. Now, I don't have percentages. I call this the stats, even though it's probably not considered stats. So because anything that has to do with, like, converting numbers and stuff like that in calculation, I tend to panic and freak out and then zone out. Once I try a little bit to understand it, if I can't understand, I can't comprehend it, then while someone's trying to explain it to me, then my eyes start to glaze over. Calculations it gives me anxiety. So I don't know how. Okay, so first let's go for age range. I have read 12 adult books, which is, wow, good. I'm reading more adult than young adult. And then 4 young adult books into middle grade, which I am fine with that. And then series-wise, I read the second book in the Caraval series, Legendary, this year. And Renegades, the first book I don't know what the series it's actually going to be called, but I'm just calling it the Renegades trilogy. I read book number 1. Defy the Stars, the Constellation series or trilogy. That's the first one. And then Royal Assassin, the Farseer trilogy, which is actually an adult book, even though the main character is technically a kid, but he grows up, so it's considered an adult high fantasy series. And the only series I finished so far this year is the Dragon Rider Chronicles by Nicole Conway, which is middle grade. That's one of the middle grade books, and the other middle grade book is Minimus, by Lily Tall, which that was great. I definitely recommend that one for 12 to 13-year-olds. And then let's see. Okay, now as far as specific genres, I read 6 fantasy, 1 horror that was, I consider The Winter People as a horror as well as a mystery. And I've read 3 science fiction, one of them being Defy the Stars. What were the other 2 science fiction books I read? Oh, Station 11, I guess, was considered sci-fi. I can't think of the other one. Is that sci-fi? I read 6 literary, so I've read as many literary books as I've read fantasy. And then I've read 2 mystery books, The Winter People, and then I can't remember the other. Oh, A Secret Rage is the other one, the other mystery. Because they're basically trying to find who is the rapist, who is the person that's been doing these horrible things to them. And then 2 classics is Persuasion and Crime and Punishment, and I definitely liked Crime and Punishment over Persuasion, which I gave Persuasion 2 stars. Crime and Punishment I gave 5 stars. And then 1 nonfiction. The problem with which is the true crime book, A Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. And the problem with nonfiction is I feel like it can run the risk of being incredibly dry. And you definitely have to pick one that you need to read nonfiction. That's something that you really care about, that you're really passionate about. Unless you're in school, of course, then you have to read certain books. But if you're choosing to read nonfiction, then yeah, you need to pick one that you are just really incredibly passionate about. Like, I still have to read John Adams by David McCullough. And that is kind of dry. I know Rincey reads like that one, but for me personally, it is a little bit dry. I was just kind of went through everything I could find about the American Revolution phase. And then I need to read, I think in this one, because it's been so long, because I got this book years ago, many, many years ago. So I might reread it from the beginning. But that's my Amelia biography. I need to read that one. So there's a little bit apparently of that gross stuff in my nose. So I need to, and then let's see. I guess I should put on here, like on my reading record, the Stephen King project. So I'll get to that in a minute. But and then I need to read, and then let's see. Anything else? I think those are the only 2 books, nonfiction books, that I am in the middle of. And then 2 historical fiction. I'm not sure which books. Because I'm not finished with The Flight of Gemma Hardy. I'm trying to think of what the other 2 historical fiction books are. But anyway, now as for the Stephen King project, unfortunately, I'm a little behind on that. Because I think I should not have started with The Stand. I need to start with something that's a little bit smaller. Like rereading Salem's Lot, although I've already read that one, so I may reread. I want to read my Stephen King books that aren't as long. So maybe The Talisman, or The Gunslinger, or maybe start with some of his short story collection. Or Dragon, The Eye of the Dragon, The Eyes of the Dragon, or maybe The Shining. It's still that, well, of course, The Shining, or Revival. I feel like I should get to Revival too. Maybe that one might be. Yep, I have to respond to Amy Wheeler on Facebook. And I actually think I might get into Revival. I might start reading that one. But I do want to read a little bit more of The Stand. But I think I should not have started with that, because that is a chunky book and it's going to take me forever to read. Same thing with It. That one is another one. Okay. So I might start reading, even though I'm not finished with The Stand, like I might read a little bit more of The Stand and then just get into another one of his ones that doesn't look as chunky as The Stand or as It, like Revival. And you start reading that one. Now, I almost wish I had the copy in the library, the one that was the library, that the same edition as the library book I borrowed, because then I could just pick up from there. Because I don't remember, I wouldn't, but nope, I'll have to start all over completely. So anyway, although I think I have a pretty good idea where I left off, but I feel like it's not like with a movie where you can you pick exactly where you left off, like a movie or TV show where it picks up exactly where you were when you stopped it or put it on pause. So I'm not doing very well in the Stephen King project. I'm still in the same spot I was when I last talked about it, which was the characters are all traveling, and we've met Mother Abigail, or we're meeting her right now in person. And some of the characters have teamed up and are traveling, like Nick. He has met this woman and this little boy, this little savage little boy, and Francis and I can't remember the guy's name teamed up with another character. I can't remember. See, as you can see, it's been a long time since I read it, so I need to get back into reading it. But anyway, so that's what's an update on my reading. How's your reading going this year? Would love to know. Feel free to share in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to click subscribe and give a thumbs up if you did like it. And I hope, as always, you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you later. Alright, bye!